Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Christopher Mullen. I have the privilege of being the director of the Willow Run Airport, and I'd like to take an opportunity to welcome everyone here. First and foremost, I would like to take a moment and recognize some of the distinguished guests who have made their way out and joined us here today. First and foremost, I would like to thank Senator Patrick Colbeck, who I know I saw the Senator. Morning, Senator. Mr. Robert Ficano, the Wayne County Executive, is here as well. Thank you. Mr. Al Glancy, who I'm sure will be embarrassed I recognize him, but our board chairman for Wayne County Airport Authority. Brigadier General Mike Stone from the state. Ms. Brenda Stumbo from Yipsy. I saw Brenda. Oh, there's Brenda in the back. Mr. John Mayfield, who is from our local FAA ADO's office. John. Mr. Mike Trout, who is with the MDOT Bureau of Aeronautics. Mike, if you're here. Oh, there's Mike in the back. Thank you. And finally, Ms. Irene Porter, who is another member of the FAA ADO team, who is responsible for a lot of the effort that went into the work that's been completed out here that you'll soon be seeing. So again, if I could just have a brief round of applause for all of our distinguished guests. Thank you. And finally, I would also like to thank all of the folks that made time in their very, very busy schedules to come out here and join us to commemorate this auspicious occasion here at Willow Run. Obviously a long and storied history here, but we do appreciate the fact that folks have taken time out to be here and join us for this. Again, so for friends, neighbors, friends of Willow Run, and friends of the Yankee Air Museum, welcome. And without any further delay, I'd like to introduce Mr. Tom Naughton, who's the CEO of the Wayne County Airport Authority. Tom Naughton.
Thank you, Chris. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Willow Run Airport. We're very, very pleased to have you here today. Today we are celebrating the reopening of Willow Run's most important runway, 5 right, 23 left. During World War II, Detroit was known as the arsenal of democracy, largely because of what was happening right here at Willow Run Airport. At Willow Run Airport, at the bomber plant, Henry Ford converted manufacturing muscle and know-how into an aircraft assembly line that had never been done before. And there was actually at one point in time when the Willow Run Bomber Plant was producing a B-24 every hour. The 70-year-old runway that we are officially replacing today was used to test fly those Liberator bombers. It was a key piece of aviation infrastructure then, and it is today, still. As air operators here provide essential cargo and general aviation services for our business community. It now has brand new pavement, new drainage, and brighter and more efficient LED centerline lighting. But the spirit of the old runway lives on and will help us to write the next chapter in this region's aviation history. There are many people to thank. We certainly owe a debt of gratitude to the Yankee Air Museum for providing the B-17 Yankee Lady to officially dedicate this new runway. That's no small task, and we certainly appreciate the commitment to preserving our past while we continue to try to build the future. And I certainly want to thank Dennis Norton and all the folks from the museum who are here today. Thank you very much. Also, we could not have accomplished this project without the tremendous cooperation of the Federal Aviation Administration. Our local FAA officials worked very hard on our behalf to obtain 90% the funding that went into this runway. And I want to thank John Mayfield and his staff, Stephanie and Irene, who are here today, for their great effort and their help. The Michigan Bureau of Aeronautics also contributed some 5% to this project, to the runway itself, but also made it possible, paid for some of the new navigation systems that are going installed with the runway. And we want to thank them as well, especially Mike Trout. He's here today. Mike, thank you very much. In concert with the operations at Detroit Metro, Willow Run will continue to be an asset and a resource for this community and contribute to the economic recovery in Southeast Michigan. This new pavement helps to position Willow Run for a key role in our future and of this region. And again, thank you for listening, and thank you for your attendance today. Thank you. As Chris noted, our Wayne County Executive, Bob Ficano, is here. And Bob, if you want to come up, just say, Bob is a great supporter. He created the Aerotropolis. Willow Run anchors the west end of Aerotropolis. And he's been a big supporter of our airports. And technically, we're actually standing in Washtenaw County. Bob's a great Spartan, but as long as he doesn't try to drive a stake in the pavement, you can have...
Thank you, Tom. Don't worry, I may be an MSU graduate, but my daughter graduated from U of M, and I definitely paid more in tuition for her college education than my own. So we're all set. I want to congratulate the Airport Authority and Tom and all that have placed this as a priority because we realize that the rivers of the future are the air, and it is even more fitting that we're doing it in conjunction with the museum that today I know is the second part of the program. So as having the good fortune of being able to have represented Wayne County, it's something that ties into our whole Aerotropolis concept, making this an economic engine, and we know that the future is nothing but bright thanks to this great investment that we've done not only on the local level, but thank you so much again on the federal level that has made this possible. So we just want to say congratulations. I'm sure that the flight's going to be very, very smooth, and we look forward to being here for the museum part as well. Thank you.
And now I'd like to ask John Mayfield to come up and say a couple words. John is, again, made this possible. He's with the FAA, the Airport District Office right here in this region. And John, with his staff, came up with 90% of the funding for this runway. Thank you.
Good morning. We at the FAA, we have a continuing mission to provide the safest, most efficient aerospace system in the world. The Airports Organization, of which we belong, provides leadership in planning and developing a safe and efficient national airport system. The FAA Detroit Airports District Office team, consisting of Stephanie Swan, raise your hand, hey, Irene Porter, Ernest Gubry, Catherine Delaney, Brad Davidson, and B. Mikey, work closely with the Wayne County Airport Authority and the Michigan Department of Transportation to make the runway 5 right, 23 left reconstruction project happen. They led the FAA's participation from the planning stage through the safety risk management process and into the completion of the construction. They collaborated with various FAA lines of businesses to ensure that each phase went smoothly. Runway 5 right, 23 left reconstruction received $36.3 million in federal funds, and it came possible because of the successful partnership with the Wayne County Airport Authority. We had been working with the Wayne County Airport Authority for a number of years to get this runway completed. They got to drive it home when they got the FAA to come out here and actually walk the old runway, and we could see that it was really in need. So we're just happy that we had a part in continuing the successful operations of the Wayne County Airport Authority, the Willow Run community, and to get you your runway. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, John. And Stephanie, I apologize. I didn't see you, but there you are. Welcome. Good to see you. I should also mention that not only did the FAA find us the funding to replace one of our runways, they also found us the funding, along with the state, to remove a runway that was really no longer serviceable and not really needed here. So both of those projects are being completed as we speak. So again, thank you very much, everyone. Just to give a brief overview, what we'll do now is that we've got a number of folks that will be moving out to the bus to go out to the runway. We'll be doing a ribbon cutting ceremony, and then we've got some folks that will actually be boarding the Yankee Lady, the B-17 of the Yankee Air Force, and making the inaugural takeoff and landing from our new runway. What we'd like to do is invite those of you who are going to be remaining here to step outside and watch the takeoff and landing, and then come back inside. We have some refreshments, and the aircraft will be back in about 30 minutes. And as soon as they're here, we will go ahead and move forward with the signing of the closing documents for the new Yankee Air Museum. So thank you very much, folks. And again, if you would, please start moving to the back. We'll start getting folks on the bus. Thank you.
I have a few senior citizens here. I have to get home for their naps. So I'm going to move along just as nice. I want to smile on that one. Okay, that worked. And I want to get them in here. I was trying to get the rest of the crew from the B-17 and our staff, because there's some people I wanted to acknowledge. This was a VIP ride you have heard. If you arrived late, and I think some of you have, we had a special dedication by the Wayne Airport Authority, and our B-17 was the first aircraft to land on the new runway and take off and land on the new runway, with a number of people that are here in this room who went for a ride in our beautiful Yankee Lady. It is an honor for me to stand here and talk with you people just for a minute this afternoon. I would probably be considered one of the newer members of this organization, I don't know, 15 years or something. And we were in the old building. But to think this started with about 11 people, short of a dozen people, got together and said, hey, why don't we? How about if? And they did it. And they went out and told all types of fibs to get a C-47. And then they got themselves a B-17, and eventually continued to get aircraft for the static display and our flyables. But the amazing thing about being here this afternoon is that every person in this room was invited. We wanted you here. We wanted you here because you have worked for us. You have worked for your museum. We've had people that have donated. We have people that have volunteered. And we're proud of all of you. So this museum is what it is today because of some of the founders, and we'll find out about that in a couple of moments, but because of you coming out. So I'm going to ask you to give yourselves a nice round of applause. It is a newsworthy day because we have a number of events that are going to take place here, and we're bringing them all together. The flying of the aircraft was number one, and we will move along. We are going to hear about a naming of the organization. We're going to sign for ownership. Our own museum. Save the bomber plant. Yay! That's what we're here for. And the guy behind it who got going, who was one of those 11 original founders back in 1981 and never stopped. The guy never stopped. He's been raising money for the bomber plant for years. And by God, he's my hero. Would you give Dennis Norton a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen?
Thank you. This is a dream come true for me and everybody else in this room. I'd like, first of all, to have everybody who is a Yankee Air Museum member just stand up or wave your hand just so we see who all you are. Look at all of them. A lot of our honored guests are also members of the museum, and that's very heartwarming to see all of you people join up with us and help us do this thing. This is a project, especially this bomber plant, but the whole museum, as Bob said, 34 years of it now, has just been a fascinating volunteer effort. I'd like to have a few people come up and say a few words, some of the important people, our key partners, as we've gone through this. And this bomber plant, the Save the Bomber Plant effort, has been a long, sometimes difficult, sometimes tear your hair out project. But we got here, and today is a pretty darn important day. First of all, Ypsilanti Township has been behind us all the way in this project. Every step we've taken, they've supported us. And I'd like to have Brenda Stumbo, Township Supervisor, Where is Brenda? Brenda can come up here and say a few words for us. Again, the township has been so supportive of what we're doing and really want to see this thing happen.
Yep. They didn't think we could do it, right? But it was a team effort. I also, Clerk Karen Lovejoy Rowe and Treasurer Larry Doe is here. And Racer Trust, thank you for allowing the museum to come back home, which is where it started in 1941. And people have learned so much history about the plant and Rosie the Riveter and what it did for women to actually get equal pay, right? That happened right here, where women could actually work in manufacturing. It was a game changer for this community. Obviously, we weren't here, but 41,000 people worked here. That's a lot. And when they said they were going to tear it down, we were devastated as a community, not only for the tax dollar loss, but because of the historical significance this holds to our community, our county, and actually our state. So to have it come back home and preserve this section of it is actually a dream come true for us as well. We love the people we've worked with, Dennis Norton and the Yankee Air Museum people, and Racer Trust has been very helpful in allowing them to stay here. So thank you very much for letting us be part of it. It took a team, and we still have to move forward, so we're going to need some more fundraising and efforts from the state of Michigan. They have plans on having a hotel and conference center here. It will be a destination. So we're proud to be part of this day and the future and creating more jobs like we had in the past. Thank you very much. God bless you, and God bless Dennis.
One of the issues that we faced right from day one as we came into this project was the entire issue of the environmental situation on the property. And we had to make sure we were safe coming onto the property because of some issues with it. It's being dealt with by Racer. We are very comfortable with it. We've been assured by MDEQ, and they have helped us through this whole process all the way through to understand what's here. We are not at risk for anything. They've helped us with some remediation, MDEQ, and I'd like to have Bob Wagner, who's the Chief of Remediation and Redevelopment for the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, come up. Where's Bob? Bob? Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. I'm proud that the Department of Environmental Quality could be a partner in this project. As many of you know, we do have legacy contamination in Michigan. It's present on many properties throughout Michigan, but does not mean it needs to be a barrier to reuse, revitalization, and redevelopment. So we, as a partner in this project, I am thrilled that we're able to move this forward. And it's an excellent example of partnerships. And as you know, many people have touched this. We're just one of many. But working through those partnerships with the Yankee Air Museum, Racer, Ypsilanti Township, the West Willow Neighborhood Association, University of Michigan, Wayne County Airport Authority, and US EPA, and Walbridge to support the Yankee Air Museum, celebration today. And thank you so much for allowing us to be a partner to help you navigate legacy contamination and get to this important reuse of the property. So thank you.
One of our key supporters has been Senator Patrick Colbeck, State Senator Patrick Colbeck. He has been behind us all the way. He is enthused about this, as all the rest of us are, and he'd like to say a few words today. Pat?
Thank you, everybody. This is an awesome day. Remember all those times when we've been out there holding the SaveTheBomberPlant.org yard or signs around our neck and everything. Kim, the Rosies have been fantastic at getting that going. I've always been excited about what was going on here at the Yankee Air Museum. Matter of fact, before the fire, my wife, for a birthday present, actually got me a flight up on the Yankee Lady, and I was hooked. I'm actually an aerospace engineer, so I like these things by default anyway, but it was really, my wife and I, when we sat through and saw the smoke from the original hangar, it was pretty disappointing. And so now to come to a day like today where we got a beautiful day out for the ceremony, we've got a rosy future, if you will, associated with the Yankee Air Museum, and it's just a blessing to be part of it. Back in May, we had that May 1st deadline, and I went up to Dennis and I said, hey, how far are we? Did we get all the money that we need in order to get across the finish line? He said, we're still about $1.5 million short. And this is right during the budget discussions out at the for the state budget, and I go, well, we got to get across the finish line. I mean, my grandpa used to test the engines out for the aircraft that were built out here, and this is an important piece of legacy for not just the folks right here, but if you go all around the state of Michigan, there's stories of people that worked on parts that fed this plant all across the state. There's people that had family histories across the board on what happened right here, and it was a time when there was we weren't focused on political differences. We're in the middle of campaign season now, but you notice that this has broad support. There are no political yays and nays on this project here. Everybody's behind it, and that's what's wonderful about this. This is a time, this is something we can all celebrate together. And so I'm still giddy here. I'm still one of those kids that whenever I hear the engines run over, I plant my face up against the window at my house back home and get excited about it. And my goal is to make it so that this museum and this experience is available for generations to come so that they can get excited about everything that's happening here, our proud history as a manufacturing center of the world, our proud history as that arsenal of democracy, and our proud history as that beacon of freedom. So thank you very much for the opportunity. A lot of people here, by the way, got us to the point where we had only $1.5 million left. 3/4 of the fundraising was done via private contributions. And I want to give hats off to all the folks that got us so close to the finish line that it made it easy for some rookie senator to go off and ask for the remaining money to get across the finish line. So you guys made this possible. It's a professional organization, and I'm blessed to find some way for us, state of Michigan, to help support it. So without further ado, I think we have a little bit of cardboard here. Well, all righty. Turn it around with it. Yep, just making sure it's signed. One thing to point out on this is check number 8685. That's the number of aircraft that were actually produced out of this factory. So I think we've written a few more checks than that, though, out of the state, but we'll have to double check, make sure we don't have a double bookkeeping here. There we go.
I get another page, yeah. Thank you very much, Pat, and the state of Michigan. All of you are part of the state of Michigan. You're helping with this project. I have a lot of other people want to recognize. I'm just going to read their names quickly rather than bring them up, but there's a lot of really important people to this project, and I do need to recognize them today. First of all, a gentleman named Selim Bingle, who I don't think is here, and Bob Lutz, who couldn't make it here today. Selim Bingle and Bob Lutz and I sat down for lunch about 3.5 years ago, and the idea of this bomber plant came up. That's where it started. So I need to recognize those two guys. The Michigan Aerospace Foundation Board of Directors. Wave your hands, Board of Directors who are from the foundation. Some over here. The sister organization to the museum that raises the money. The Yankee Air Museum Board of Directors, wave your hands, all people in the Board of Directors of the Yankee. Mike Montgomery where's Mike? Mike Montgomery has been with us for a couple years now, helping organize and keeping us driving forward. Major donors, we just got the check from the state of Michigan, General Motors Foundation, David and Andrea Robertson Foundation, the Lloyd and Mabel Johnson Foundation, Ford Motor Company Fund and Community Services, Robert Pills and Donna Malicious, Bob Lutz, Richard and Jane Manugian Foundation, the Seattle Foundation, DTE Energy Foundation, CENS Foundation, Mr. George Riley, Chris Aldridge, and John Clark. A lot of donors beside that. We have thousands of donors, but these people came to the table and really helped us with major, major donations. So give all those people a nice round of applause. And then we have a lot of other donations in the form of pro bono services and in-kind donations. Most of these are corporations who have stepped forward and helped us out in one way or another. I'd like to recognize them. Inland Press in Detroit. Andy Thompson has been a great friend of both the museum and the foundation for years. MDEQ, Kevin Lund and Mitch Edelman. Phoenix Construction Company has donated some of their time over the years. Bill Kinley. Adams Survey Company, Paul Kreisch and Bob Smalley. Attorney Bill Stapleton has given us a nice discount on a lot of the legal work we've had to do. And believe me, that's been intense the last 6 weeks here. Fred Gore has donated some of his time, URS Corporation. Gar Haplamosian and Rick Dye from Albert Kahn Associates have donated some time and effort to help us. MDEQ again. Chris Bidlack from Bidlack Creative Company has donated some of his time to help us with some of the things you're going to see in a few minutes. Soils and Materials Engineers, James Harless, donated some of his time with a lot of the environmental work. And Larry Jordan, another attorney who has donated a lot of time recently as we work on branding the museum. I hope I haven't forgotten anybody. I'm guessing I might have, but those are some of the partners who have helped us get going. Finally, I have to recognize Wayne County Airport Authority and Willow Run Airport, Sean Brosnan, Chris Mullen, Wendy Sutton, Kevin Clark, Rick Tegg, Tom Naughton, and many others. I know Joe is here too. You guys have been just wonderful to work with, and I know the Airport Authority and the people here at Willow Run have been so strongly behind the museum all these years. We couldn't have done it without you guys. Ypsilanti Township again, Brenda and Larry and Karen were up here, but also Ron Fulton, Joe Lawson, and Vic Chevrette. They went over backwards helping us with figuring out how we're going to do this, how we're going to restore this building. And finally, Racer Trust, Grant Trigger, Bruce Rasher, and Elliot Laws. Grant and Bruce especially, and probably Grant. Wave your hand, Grant. People need to know who you are. Racer Trust, as you know, owned the building until we purchased it as of today. They have been over backwards to try and make this thing work. And I remember the first meeting I had with Bruce and Grant. I don't even remember when it was, but it had to be probably 2.5 years ago, and told them what my idea was. And I'm guessing that Bruce and Grant both kind of scratched their head and said, yeah, we'll listen to this guy for a couple minutes. Went back and kept meeting with them, and I think we finally convinced them that, geez, maybe we actually could pull this thing off. And Bruce told me back in April of 2013, I think it was, 2013, when we kicked this off. I thanked him for letting us do this, and he said, we've got confidence you guys can pull this off, or we wouldn't be doing it. So I really need to thank those guys for sticking with us through all this effort to raise this money and get to the point where we are today. Also, there's a couple of guys, Bob McNulty and Cliff Lewis. I don't think they're here today, but they work over with Wallbridge and MCM and Devon in the bomber plant, and they have helped us for months and months, taking donors and media people and all sorts of people over there getting in their way of the demolition process and all they're trying to do, but they've helped us a lot in this whole process too. And I'd like to thank all of you people. Everybody has helped us with this, get to the point where we are today. We're celebrating something really cool, and I thank you for coming today. Thanks.
Thank you, Dennis. We'll get him back here in just a moment. I flurried right through that at the very beginning, but I did want to acknowledge that some of you who flew in the aircraft today, the B-17, all right, do you know who you are? Do you know who you are that went up in the B-17? That's a very simple question. I want you to know who was in at the helm of that thing. We talk about a little different up in the cockpit, so I'd like to acknowledge over here, Paul Schoen. Would you raise your hand, please? Gene Wiedenkamper. These were your pilot and co-pilot. And the guy who rebuilt that thing, Norm Ellickson, where is Norman? Norman's over there someplace. Would you raise your hand? 9 years to rebuild that thing. He too is our hero. Thank you, guys. We have two Rosie the Riveters. Oh, we've got more than two, but we've got two original Rosie the Riveters here. Mally Mellon, are you right here? Can you just stand up and turn? You have to step up to look. Mally Mellon was a riveter, and she could still do that job, right? You bet. And here beside her is Marjorie Walters, also a riveter. Marjorie, if you will. Bless you. Bless you both. And we are blessed with a whole flock of volunteer Rosies that were born a little after these girls were born, and they are indispensable to us. They do a great deal of work for us. We had no idea that we were going to find as much for them to do. So they have been helping us with fundraising, getting membership involved, and so many other things. So those of you who are Rosies, whether you're in the outfit or not, raise your hand. Please stand up. Allison, acknowledge, girls. Thank you all. These are our Rosies. They do an awful lot of work for us. We are going to have an unofficial. It's an official signing for the bomber plant. The board of directors of the Yankee Air Museum have been invited to gather around our signees of this. I told you there are a lot of things going on today, a lot of firsts today, so it is a historical day. So it's my honor to ask Elliot P. Laws, Administrative Trustee for the Racer Corporation, the Racer Trust, to come up here and to be joined by Ray Hunter, who is the chairman of the Yankee Air Museum. Ray is a former 06, we call him, and a colonel in the United States Air Force, and he came in here and he's been a member of our board. He flies the B-17. He'll fly anything you put in front of him. You put him in the seat, he'll fly the damn thing. So he's here, and they are the signees representing both of the organizations. So I'd like to ask Mr. Laws, first of all, to say a few words, and then we'll call on Ray, if you will.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob. On behalf of Racer Trust, it's really a pleasure to be here. Dennis really wasn't that far off when he described the first meetings between the museum and Racer. He talked to Grant and Bruce at some point said, Yankee Air Museum wants to buy part of Willow Run. And I said, okay. And it was really earlier than that. I think you guys actually came in, well, you came in 2012. I started getting emails from you in June of 2011. Racer Trust came into existence in March of 2011. So we had been around for 3 months before Dennis started hitting us up with emails. So we met, and it was kind of like, yeah, that's interesting. I don't really think it's going to happen. But he kept at it. He kept at it with Grant and Bruce and convinced them. Then I started getting phone calls from Brenda saying, Elliot, we really want this museum here. And then I got more emails from Dennis about taking a flight in the plane. And he was like a gnat. He just wouldn't go away. He wouldn't go away. And eventually he convinced my guys that this was something that made a lot of sense. And then we really started getting into the history of this plant. We realized this not only was something that made sense, it was something that we had to do. And so we worked real hard with his team, and we were able to give them the time that they needed to make this happen. And we're really proud that we're a part of it. I think you all should be very, very proud of yourselves. The history that has happened here is something that's now going to be preserved for future generations. The history that you've made in raising money. You're in the Guinness Book of World Records now for having the most rosies gathered. I mean, so you're still making history. So this is really a great honor for us. I'm glad that Dennis and Ray kept at us and pestered us until we started sharing in his dream and the dream of this community to have this museum here. And we're really pleased that it's happened. We're going to work with you to go forward, and we want to be here for the opening of the Action Museum when it's finished. Thanks and congratulations.
Elliot gets one of those chairs, and the second chair will go to our chairman, if you will, Ray Hunter. Let's give him a nice welcome, folks.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What a great day. Today is a new milestone in the history of the Yankee Air Museum. I was out flying the other day, and I flew over what's left of the bomber plant. The only thing left standing was the home of our new museum. We're very proud to have played a part in saving some of this historic building that contributed so much to our victory of World War II. So on behalf of the Board of Directors and the many members of the Yankee Air Museum, I'd like to thank Racer Trust, the Wayne County Airport Authority, Ypsi Township, and Van Buren Township. And I also add my thanks to the many supporters here of this great project that will both preserve our past and build our future. Thank you very much.
Be sure to sign both copies, I'm told to instruct you, not just the one. Members of our board of directors for photographic opportunities are welcome to gather in around behind them to make sure they're doing it right. You know, they're up there in rank, and so we have to keep an eye on them. So if you like. All right. This is Speed Gant. He's our treasurer. Over here is Brian Higgins. He is one of our directors. Our vice chair now is Richard, if you will, Richard Stewart. And Ed's up there. Oh, and Mr. Steiner is at the end. He publishes the newspaper that comes to your door that says Hangar Happenings. He works very, very hard on that. And then, of course, Jim is our newest member. Thank you very much. Nice. I'll have you, all of you here. Oh, I'm a board member. I'll be right back. You'll see copies of that on the post office bulletin board with numbers underneath. And I'm staying over here. I'm humble. I tell you what, it takes all of those people and a whole lot more, including all of the people in this room, to have accomplished what has been accomplished here. Thank you all very much. Just in case you're wondering, the bomber plant is ours. Now it is my pleasure. You're wondering about what's going on behind me here? The suspense is over. We are going to unveil those, whatever the charts, it's coming right up. It is a great honor, I think, in fact, I know, to bring aboard right now our executive director. He has come in here and he has done some magnificent things with our Yankee Air Museum. I'm proud that he's a pal of ours. I'm proud that he's at our helm, and I'm proud that we have an opportunity to make his job easier by doing our jobs. So, if you will, our executive director, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Walsh. Please welcome him.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. All right. Yes, as Bob said, I think everybody's really anxious to see what's behind these, and I'm going to make you wait just a few minutes more. But I would like the tribute Rosies that are going to unveil the banners to come up, and we'll unveil this in just a moment. Thank you so much, and sincerely, thank you. This is a huge day. It's a huge day for Wayne County Airport Authority, the Yankee Air Museum, Willow Run Airport. This is a really special day, and I'm glad everybody is here to share it. When the Yankee Air Museum started back in 1981, that name, Yankee Air Museum, fit real well. It was designed and the museum was created by a small group of aviation aficionados, and that name was just the right name for the purpose for the right museum. So it stuck, and it stuck for a long time. What happened was the Yankee Air Museum grew out of that name. And through its programming, its educational programming, its preservation, its historical actions, this museum has become so much more. And the Yankee Air Museum name certainly doesn't reflect adequately what we do here now, because we are much, much bigger of an organization than the original founders probably thought we would be. So, when we look at what the museum is, the new name of the museum, we looked at a couple different things. And when you rebrand, rebrand for a couple of purposes: predicted growth, a new line of business or market, a new audience, or to stay relevant. All those points exemplify what we're doing here and the direction that we're going. So how did we come up with the name? That's the question that a lot of people have asked. And you're probably going to be shocked that we didn't sit in a room and just pick out names and throw darts at a dartboard and hope for the best. We actually were very methodical, and this was a very, very long process of analyzing what the museum is today and what the museum is going to be tomorrow. And we went outside. We've got professional help in doing this. We went out and recruited professional focus groups, both general public and educators, to help us create this name. So when you're looking at rebranding a name, there's 6 key points it should do. Tells who you are, tells what you do, tells how you do it, differentiates you from your peers, piques customer interest, and invites further investigation. So that's exactly what we did. We made sure that this new name for the museum embodied all of that. And with the help of many professional organizations, we were able to create the new name. Now, before we release the new name, there's a couple of ground rules. And I want people to understand how this is going to be implemented. The new name for the museum refers to that facility over here, the bomber plant. The Yankee Air Museum name will continue to exist, and operations of the Yankee Air Museum in its current location and reference to the Yankee Air Museum will continue for years until we move into the new facility. So if you drive by tomorrow, the name on the building will still be Yankee Air Museum. If I hand you a business card next week, it's still Yankee Air Museum. But for the purpose of fundraising and the purposes of developing this national destination point, that will be reserved for that new building. The names on the airplanes, a lot of people have asked, are they going to change? No. They are their character, they are who they are part of the Yankee Air Museum's history. So they will not change at all. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pride and a great honor to release the new name of the museum publicly for the first time. Ladies ready? Go ahead. They really did a good job of keeping this secret. They really did a good job. The bomber plant will be known as the National Museum of Aviation and Technology. And most importantly, a couple of key points here. The tagline at Historic Willow Run, we felt it is more than appropriate and important to make sure that we are honoring this great facility. And our website will be historicwillowrun.org, which is live today. Now, a couple of purposes of the museum. The National Museum of Aviation Technology, and it took me everything not to say that while I was talking. There's a couple of key purposes from our shaping statement that in the creation of this name and the creation of the logo, I want to share with everyone 5 quick points so you can understand the direction that the museum is currently going and the destination that it will arrive at. Preserve, number 1, is preserve the American and regional aviation heritage and tell its stories. Number 2, preserve the Willow Run Bomber Plant for future generations, offer a historical interpretation of the structure and site, and puts the Willow Run story into a larger economic, social, and cultural historical context. Number 3, create and present exciting, engaging, family-friendly exhibits and programs based on the storylines. Number 4, attract, and this is incredibly important and has been a focus of ours, a laser focus of ours for the last couple of years. Attract, enthrall, and educate young Americans, get them to become active learners in the field of modern aviation, aerospace, math, science, engineering, and technology, giving them the opportunity to become the next generation of leaders in these fields. Through the pursuit of education and career opportunities in STEM, of course, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics fields. And number 5, support regional economic development as a destination for travel and tourism and a compelling new venue for community, corporate, and family events.
I feel proud. You feel, that's my museum right over there. Guarded by 2 lovely ladies. National Museum of Aviation and Technology. Way to go. But we told you all types of great announcements today. Incidentally, before I forget later on, because my wife will tell you I'm very good at forgetting. It seems to come with the years. There are booklets and a handout that we could not put out because Kevin had not announced the name yet. So we have these. We want you to take these little folders along with you to tell you more about the name and and how much it means to us. But right now, I'm going to get Dennis back up here. Dennis, come on, let's do it. He is going to tell us about the storylines and exhibits for the new museum's launch and the next phase of our campaign. So again, the president of the Michigan Aerospace Foundation, Dennis Norton.
Thank you, Bob. Part of the process of the rebranding, it actually started with an effort to find some storylines that we could go out and sell to donors. As you know, we still have a lot of money to raise. We've raised $5 to $6 million in cash and in-kind and all sorts of donations, but we need to raise another $5 million going forward. That is starting today. Phase 1 of this entire process was to just save that building and turn it back into a functional building. The building, as it sits over there now, has no electricity, no water, no gas, no heat, and it's missing 1.5 walls. We've got enough funding and pledges coming in to get this back to the point where it's a functional building. From there, we have to start working on the interior. So we are today kicking off phase 2 of our fundraising drive to restore that building now. This is what's going to turn it into a building we can actually think about moving the museum into. This will take another 1.5 to 2 years to do that piece also. Part of that process, I said, was develop some storylines that we could go out and market to donors rather than just simply tell them, hey, we need to raise $5 to $6 million to save this building. Now we have some extra stories we can sell. We went through a process of about 3 to 4 months on this with some very good work, some very good studying by a lot of people. We had, I think, 8 or 10 people that regularly met almost weekly for a number of months now to put these together. And this was where the new name derived from, and this is what we're going to be out in the market selling, and this is what you will see, all the storylines and sub-storylines in the new museum. So we'd like to unveil those, and I'll talk just briefly about them, but then I'd really like to come up and look at these, and I believe we have some sheets over here that you can pick these up and take these home and see what we've done as we develop what this new museum is going to be. Now, you might not be able to see all this from there, but we developed a number of storylines, major storylines. One is up at the top is the miracle of Willow Run. This is the story of what we have researched, what we've tried to preserve for 34 years with the Yankee Air Museum. This will encompass a lot of different things. Storyline 2 is how Detroit saved the world. You've probably heard a lot of our stories that Randy Houghton and some of the others have given. You've seen the Willow Run story on DVD. Some of you are taking that home today. Detroit and the Arsenal of Democracy truly saved the world in World War II. So we're going to tell that story in a very big way. Number 3 is Women Answer the Call. The Rosie the Riveters. That's a story that started at Willow Run. So we're going to tell that story also. Number 4, now we get into flying. That thing will never fly. Flying is just a fascinating thing to do. I've done it for years, ever since 1966, and enjoy the heck out of it. But when you think back to how all this started, how flying started, and all the technological developments along the way, we're going to tell that story also. Now we're starting to get into the technology part of the new name. Number 5, the Roaring 50s. Willow Run was a tremendous airport in 1950. We're going to tell that story. And all about the story of aviation and aerospace technology that developed into NASA and some of the things we're going to look at later on. Space, the future is you. Space, the future is you. We're looking at the kids and the effort to really boost our educational process up. We have a lot of kids come in, and this is the only place they get the kind of exposure to aerospace. They don't get that in schools anymore. So that's part of this whole process. Let's see, what's the next one? 7, exploration station. Now, you just talked about that. That is Rachel's effort, our educational program, our STEM program. It's a tremendous program, and we're going to expand that greatly, again, because we see the schools having a hard time teaching kids science and math and teaching them where they can get into aerospace as careers. So that's going to be a big part of it. 8, High Spy, everyday espionage. We don't quite know what that is, but boy, it's a really cool thing. Espionage, we've got a RB-57 over there that was a photo reconnaissance plane, and all the intelligence gathering you hear so much about today with everything going on in the world. There's so much out there that we can talk about and some of the new innovations in that. I think that one is just going to be a tremendous one to sit in and help develop. Power, the engines, the evolution of aircraft engines, all the way from the simple engines in World War I that I saw last night on PBS World War I, if some of you saw that cool program, all the way up to the jet engines and the modern day engines that we're looking at. Generation Green, propellers are now used to make electricity. I don't know how many of you have driven through middle of Michigan and seen all the windmills up there in mid-Michigan in the Mount Pleasant area. This is the future, and we're going to tell that story too, how all that technology fits into what we're talking about. Those are the, did I miss any? I don't think so. Those are the major storylines, and obviously each of those will have developed into tremendous stories through the museum. We'll be working on those for 3 or 4 years. And when the new museum opens up, these are the stories we're going to tell. And this allows us to go out and the market to raise this next $5 million for the interior to build what we need to do for these stories. But this is the future of your museum, people. And I'd like you to give a nice round of applause to all the people that worked on this process trying to develop this. It wasn't an easy process. And lastly, I'll repeat what I said earlier. The Save the Bomber Plant campaign is kicking off phase 2. We're doing that today. I'll be making some calls as early as next week. I need your help. We need your help. All of this has been a joint effort. This hasn't been just Dennis Norton or the Foundation Board or Racer or Willow Run or the Yankee Board. This has been an effort of everybody in here and thousands of other people who have stepped forward to help this thing in all sorts of ways, not just donations, but cutting corners for us and helping cut red tape. All sorts of things have helped us get to this point. So the next $5 million, we're starting today. I need your help. Everybody in here knows somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody that can help us. You've heard me say that for 3 years now, so dig into your address books, find a way to help us. And the last piece, right at the end, we're going to walk down, or actually we're going to take the bus down, and any of you who want to go into that building, we'll open the gate and you can walk in and see what we just purchased today. Thank you.
I think Dennis pretty much said it all, and we've made the best presentation we possibly can. But you are really our best presentation. We hope you will continue to volunteer. Obviously, we hope you'll continue to give. We hope you'll be part and proud of the Yankee Air Museum as it continues, and then our new museum. And the name of the Yankee Air Museum, as I was told, will live on until this building is gone, and then it will be when we moved into the new one. So we got plenty of time. We're going on. But stick with us, folks. Be our pals. You are appreciated. The fact that you have worked for the Yankee Air Museum, volunteered for the Yankee Air Museum, and come to help us out is appreciated. You are appreciated. And we only hope you continue to do it. And I was going to say, and work even harder, but I won't say that. I'll just say continue to do it. Dennis?
We'd like a photo op up here. This is not on the program, but I'd like to get everybody from Willow Run up here. Let's see, Racer up here, Ypsilanti Township, MDEQ that has helped us, Pat, some of you people. Any of you who have helped us with this, come on up. We want to get a photo of all you people by the new name, and then we're done. Thank you.
All right, as we used to say in the service, in the Marine Corps, as you were. Oh, that was on the bridge of the ship. As you were. Thanks for being here, everybody. Safe home. We'll see you at the gala. I know you're all planning to be at the gala. We'll see you then, and we'll see you at the Yankee Air Museum.